Good morning, everybody. Paddy back again with his daily video, and I did struggle a bit this morning, um, but I think I've got a nice little video. It's one, just a wee touch on my EDC and how it's changed with this lockdown, and two is I want to talk about a knife which I think is nearly forgotten about now, but I don't understand why, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But first of all, my EDC. Look, I'm in tracksuits every day now. That I'm stuck indoors. I haven't had a pair of jeans on and I don't know how long, and I don't like carrying a bigger knife in my tracksuit bottom. So I've been carrying small knives, as you've maybe seen if you're on my Instagram, and if you're not, get the hell over there. But recently I've been carrying just a wee tiny torch, my Leatherman skirt, which I hang in my pocket because, I mean, it's 2 ounces, and I know 2 ounces is not heavy, but you see when it's hanging in the pocket, you don't feel it. But if you drop it down to the bottom of the pocket, it rattles off my torch. Don't like that either. So this goes in the bottom of the pocket, this hangs on top. And I've been carrying a variety of little wee knives, as I call them, as you know, because they are wee knives. And I have lots of them. I love little knives like this for just throwing in the bottom or fifth pocket, anywhere at all. Some days I don't want to carry a big knife, so I'll carry a wee knife. Now this one is a Bastion. You can just see there, it's Bastion. It's in D2, titanium handle. It's just a beautiful little knife, absolutely beautiful knife. Really well made, as good as any big knife. It's even got a wee pocket clip if you wanted to use it. But it just flicks out. It really is a fidget factor to have in your pocket. And it is 4 4¾ inches with literally just no more, a smidge over 2 inches cutting blade. So this wee knife can do most things I want to do on a daily basis. It's a frame lock, strong wee knife. Anything about the house, that there does it. You know, even cutting up boxes, and I mean even larger boxes, this wee knife can do it. So yeah, I know we all like to have a big knife, but just at this lockdown period, I've really been enjoying my wee knives, and it's a part of my collection. I'm sort of glad I grew up. I don't need any more now, but I have a whole stack of them, and it's nice to be able to change out and do them, along with my traditional, use my smaller traditionals. But it doesn't have to be a traditional. So there we go, and that's where I'm going. But the nice thing, and I was thinking, you know, today, it's funny, I've just been making a stew, and I was taking a picture for Instagram, and I took a picture of one of my other knives that is titanium, and a great cutter. And I thought, you know, it's so simple. You can have a little EDC in your pocket for just running about the house. But if for any reason you have to go outside of the door, how's that for topping it up with a mix and match? I mean, how lovely is that? I just thought that was, you know, it's just what was out this morning, what I've been using today. Been using this for cooking, using this in my pocket. I even opened up some of the packages that I was cooking with a tiny knife. But I was stropping this and I thought, what a lovely way to just, how to make your EDC complete. Dead simple. Because I don't need any more light. I've got a pair of pliers, I've got a pair of scissors, I've got all the little things that I need there. A small knife and a big knife I can keep if I really need it. So, there we go. Just a simple little Paddy thought. But the main topic of discussion today is a forgotten knife. And I'm saying forgotten because I don't see it on YouTube an awful lot. And it's this. It's one of my favourite knives, both as a functional knife, but two, because it's very sentimental. It was a knife I bought to remind me of my father, who's passed away. Quite a long time now, but this brings me a little bit, it's about 8 years now, and this brings me a little bit closer to him every time I bring it out and use it. And I say it in my videos as well. But that's not the only reason. This knife is one of the nicest. Now you look at it and you know that's a Hinderer. You don't need to see that badge, and you don't need to see that USA 20CV, which on this knife I absolutely love. I genuinely love it. It just takes a screaming edge on it. And I wonder why it's not talked. You see a lot of Hinderers. This is an XM18. I mean, you see a lot of the titanium backed Hinderer XM18s, and they're beautiful. They are gorgeous knives. But I actually quite like having the same on both sides. I quite like having the G10. It's grippy G10, but it doesn't cut your hands up. It gives me a full grip down here, and it gives me the full, as usual, Rick Hinderer forward choil. Now this is a slip joint. Is that the reason that it's just not as popular? I don't understand it. I really don't. And even those of you out there who maybe don't like slip joints, I'm going to prove to you again that I believe this is one of the best slip joints ever made. Ever made. Now, I'm talking in it as a... It's not tactical. I wouldn't call this now. I didn't buy it because it's tactical. I built it because it's rugged. It's well made. It's a Hinderer. I love the brand. I love everything about it. I like Rick Hinderer. He's just a really genuine good guy. I love the clip. The blade steel's perfect. I love the handles. Now, the difference between this and the bigger blades is usually thickness. This is a lovely slim design. And I'll give you... We'll do some measurements on the thickness of this. This is, let me just hit this in inches. This is just under 1.1 of an inch. Or sorry, that's millimeters. What am I doing? 10 millimeters. Let's change it to inches. This is 0.35, 0.4 of an inch thickness. The blade steel on it, let me get to the top here. The blade steel on it is 0.10. So, I mean, this is called the Hinderer Slippy Slicer. And you can see it's the slicer grind. It's the same as in all other Hinderers. Everything about this is just Hinderer. This little bit here is probably the difference. One, you can use it if you want it as a nail nick. This is a little thumb stud you can take on or off, but it slides up and down here depending on where you want it. I have it at the very top because that's the way I like it. And it's a 2-finger and I can pull it out. It's, you know, it's not the most fidget-friendly knife, but as a functional EDC knife, this is amazing. With that thin blade stock, the slicer grind, it's marvellous. I mean, I can't tell you how good it is as a slicer. Is it expensive? Yes, it is really expensive, but I've had an awful lot of people asking me, especially down in comments down below, what knife would you recommend if you were to recommend my first expensive knife? This is the one I have recommended because I have no fears. Now, I could quite easily have recommended this. Quite easy. No problem. There's maybe not that much difference in price over here between these two. But this is dear. This is just over the £300 mark. It's just recently gone up a wee bit. Is this worth £300? For me, and for me alone, never mind the sentimental value, just as an EDC knife, to me this is top of the range. This is where I always wanted to get to. Now, I love all my other knives, as you know, but this one, this is just the top of the range. It has every hallmark. Yes, it's got a proprietary lock. I've never had to take it apart. So I'm not worried about that at all. But what I want to do is talk about the design of the knife. In hand, 4 fingers, absolutely beautiful. But Paddy, I'm scared of the knife closing on me. Here you go. Knife closed. Nothing. Completely clear of my finger. That is not going to cut me ever. Ever. It's never going to cut me because of the design. And that's the bit about this knife that just, it sealed it for me. When I got it, I didn't even know I'd done that before I got it. I just liked the shape. I always wanted a Hinderer. So there you go, a full 4-finger grip. I can cut away. For whatever reason, I knock something, bang. Doesn't cut me. I have no worries whatsoever. But again, with a Rick Hinderer design, forward choil. And if I'm doing any heavy cutting, I will be in the forward choil position. Absolutely all the time I'm doing any heavy. In fact, most of the time I sneak up here. And it's not because I need to, because I have enough room, medium, large hand. But this forward choil brings this knife into a close. You can use close work. It's easy enough to do this. You know, you can actually do that if you wanted to just nick something. You certainly wouldn't because it's a loose. It's not a tight pivot. It's a loose pivot. But if you wanted to do little, you know, get a splint out, there's no problem. This is an absolutely cracking blade tip for doing that. Light prying, yep. Not a problem. It's a Hinderer. Do you know what I mean? It really is a Hinderer. And for £300, I don't know what the equivalent is in the States, because I'm sure they do sell them in their main stores there. But I would say this is going to be under the price of the base Hinderer that's a locking, just for the fact that it is a slippy. But I'm going to say to you, if you don't want to step up to that next price and you want to start with a Hinderer at the bottom scale of the price range, this is the knife for you. This is not just for UK buyers or European buyers. This is a knife for you. It has a cutting edge of under 3 inches. Yeah, it's about 2.5 inch cutting blade, just over cutting. The lengthwise, it's dead on 3 inches. So completely UK legal, and look at that for a knife. That's as good a full-size knife as you're ever going to need on an EDC basis. Absolutely. If you live in Europe and you've got the restrictions where you can take the thumbstud off, just have a nail nick, you know, it's a two-hand opener, it's not a flick opener. So for anywhere in Europe that's got different restrictions, this fulfills the brief. This fulfills the brief. But for me, for people who are always saying they're scared of a slip joint closing on them, bang. I mean, that just doesn't close on you. I can do that as hard as I like. It's not, if you see, it's clearing my fingers by a margin. Even when it's pushed as hard as it like, it's not going to cut me. And that is important to let people see just how good that is. Because if you're going to want to buy something like this, you want to make sure that it's going to be a safe knife. And let me tell you, I have used this for all circumstances. This is a perfectly safe knife. If you're in the UK, if you're in Europe, buy it. If you want to step up into higher end EDC knives, I highly recommend this. This is my other highly recommend, the Spidey Chef. It's just an amazing knife, but it's not UK legal because it has a lock. So for a higher end knife in the European side, I mean, I love these and I carry it down the caravan, carry it in the house. I use it for cooking. This knife is used nearly every single day in my house. This is used when I'm going out. If I want to take a bigger knife out with me, this is the knife I take. And yes, £300 is wildly expensive for a pocket knife, but I'm taking it that you're in this hobby because you like knives. And if you can save up, now I know there's lots of people can't, and I do videos for them people, but this is for people who have that ability to maybe save or just have the money to buy, but they're not sure what to buy. I highly, highly recommend this knife for a start off in Hinderers. If you like Hinderers, people tend to buy more Hinderers. But as a base model, if you want to get one, say you're in America and you travel to Europe, this is legal. This is legal to carry in the UK. I mean, it's just a full-size knife and it's legal to carry. So, for lots of different reasons, I highly recommend this knife. I've had this quite a while now. I can't remember. It must be near a year. And I haven't found anything with this knife other than proprietary tools, but you can get round that. You can go and buy, these are smaller than the normal Hinderer. You can go and buy one of those wee keys that go over the top of that. Not a problem. The rest is Torx. I haven't needed to take this apart. It's a slip joint. You very rarely need to take a slip joint apart, if ever. Just put a blow in, put my blow air in there, give it a blow through, re-oil it every now and then, and that just keeps it going. So I wanted to bring this out and I wanted to review it again because, it didn't give you a weight. Let's just give you a weight on this boy. And the fact that it's one-handed just really makes it a super UK knife. Let me get that down there and let you see what it is. Ounces, 3.6 ounces. And in them funny things, grams, it's 102 grams. So again, an absolutely beautiful, full-size Rick Hinderer knife that's non-locking. But it's not just for the UK market. This is a nice knife for any market, in my opinion. So there you go. And if you're in the UK or if you're in Europe, they're sold in Heine Haynes. You'll get a discount off that. So, you'll be bringing that down into the 280 mark, which is, it's money off and it's a bit cheaper. So use the code. I'll have it down below in the description of this video. Use it and you'll get your money off it. You're down in the 280 mark or close to it. So I hope you've enjoyed that video. I hope you've maybe opened your eyes to a Hinderer that's not a locking Hinderer, whether you're in Europe or not. And if you just like the slip joint kind of thing, there's the knife for you. There's the knife for you. Right, I'm away, folks. Thank you very much for watching. Again, please keep safe. And a huge thank you to all those that are keeping us safe, looking after us, feeding us. You know, even the people at the ports, the lorry drivers that are out there doing their best for us. Thank you very much indeed. From wee Paddy to those all around the world who are helping. Take care. I'm away. Cup of tea time. Any mug. Bye-bye now. Take care.